Hey everybody, how's it going? Back here with a marching snare update. Got one of the snares done, and like I said, I was gonna wait on starting that one so I could do a side-by-side comparisons. I am wearing gloves because I don't want to finger pin up my nice clean aluminum quite yet. Um, so I'll kind of talk about some of the things I did, and then kind of explain just how far in depth I did things, and then so yeah, we'll start by just showing you so you can clearly see which one has been redone and which one hasn't. Um, I haven't done a single thing to that one yet. It is exactly how it is when I got it. I haven't changed anything, cleaned nothing, because I really wanted to do a good side-by-side. Right off the bat, you can see the aluminum. Much shinier. I actually ended up doing 2 rounds of polishing on the rings, and then polished a lot of the other little parts here and there on it. We'll go over that. New heads, top and bottom, and then basically serviced all of the moving parts, the snare throw off, and then the strainer. Those got new grease in them. And then same with the bolt or the lug holes. Those got new grease, so we'll kind of jump into it here. So this thing came out beautiful. It's basically a brand new drum. Especially with having new heads top and bottom. Really the only things that kind of let you know that it's not a brand new drum is there is some nicks and scratches here and there just from its time at the college. These things get pretty beat up, so some of the support tubes are a little beat up. Not too bad, just little scratches here and there. Nothing bent or anything. Some dings on some of the rings here and there. That's kind of a little chewed up right there. But other than that, I mean, it's beautiful. The strainer in, we took this completely apart, polished all the parts individually, and then put new grease on the adjusting bolt, shined up the handle as much as possible. Basically anything metal got shined up as good as I could get it. This has little imperfections in it, some scratches here and there just from its time, but that's okay. This drum overall came out way better than what I was expecting it to. The tag is still in really good condition. Clean that up. Normally these get pretty dented and scratched. I got a couple of drums with these that are a little scratched and dented, but that one's in really good shape. Didn't take it off at all, just cleaned around it really good. Cleaned the tag itself, cleaned the case really well. Was able to get a lot of the darker spots out of it. There is some areas where there's like little scratches in it and stuff, but you really can't tell once it's all put together and you're just looking at it. This here, the snare throw off, I completely disassembled this. A lot more parts in that than what you think there is. Re-greased everything down in here. The sliding parts there where the outer case meets that plastic part, those got greased really well. The adjusting bolt got greased down in there really well. All new grease. The tensioner for the snares themselves, I got new grease on that. Clean that handle up. And then just for a nice side-by-side, you can see the knob that's been cleaned and polished, and then the one that hasn't. So that's what they used to look like, if my camera would focus. So yeah, there we go. That's what they used to look like. That's what they are now in this one. So those will get the same treatment. Well, I'll be doing all the same, everything that I did this one will be doing to this one. So everything slides really nice, locks into place really good. Cleaned all that up really well. Tried to shine it up the best I could. Even shined up the little supports down here. And you guys saw in the last video I had this thing completely apart as far down as possible. The rings came out beautiful on this. I'm really happy with how shiny they are. Even with the scratches and dings that are in them, they're really pretty looking. Lower ring came out really nice, and you can see just the difference between the, these are pretty clean, but they definitely have some crap on them just from fingerprints and some of the weather that these probably saw and dust and all that stuff. So you can really see just how big of a difference some polishing does between the two. And you can see that this top ring is sitting down a little bit lower than this one. These the Black Max heads, once you tighten them down, they don't go down quite as far as these older heads do. So that's why there's a height difference there. But I kind of like it because now I can see more of that machined surface in there that I spent a lot of time cleaning up. So that's really nice. We'll flip her on her side here. Alright. Some hairs on there. Made sure the inside was very, very clean before I put the top head on. I did get the bottom head one on first. It's a Ramo Ambassador snare side. So I went Ramo heads, top and bottom. That one's going to get the same treatment, all new heads. Still the original snares. The snares were in just immaculate condition. They weren't bent. None were fraying or breaking on either end here. So I retuned those really good. Shined up the actual adjustment end of this for the snares. You can see that's really shiny. Basically anything that I could shine up, I shined up. Lower ring came out really nice. You can see just how shiny it is. Really the only thing that you kind of see is just some of those nicks and scratches from back when it was in service. Other than that, it's super shiny. Couldn't be happier with how this came out. I even took a lot of time to clean these casting areas on the bigger ring there. The insides of these had never been opened up since the heads had never been switched on these. These had never been opened up, so the wood was really good on the inside. Didn't really, just kind of gave it a wipe down just to get the dust in there. You can see the bottom of the Black Max head, all the woven fibers of that through there. And like these old heads where you could see straight through the drum, now you can't. So that head went on really well. Everything settled down really nice, tightened it really nice and evenly. Got it up to pitch, didn't have any issues. Everything settled down in the snare bed really well, so that was nice. I'll flip this other one on its side just so that way we can get comparisons of the bottoms on these as well. We'll pan out. So they're clearly, you can see through one, you can't see through the other. These still had the original pearl heads that came on them. So this one will get a new head on. I am saving these old heads because there's nothing wrong with these. I just want to put new ones on these since I'm basically doing a complete restoration on these. I want to get them right back to new, have a better tone and better sound quality. These heads don't really offer that, especially the top head. It's a sound focus head. The middle part there that has that patch on it, you get the kind of a normal snare sound out of that, but once you get off of that, you kind of get a tenor. You get like a tenor sound in all this space. I'm probably going to use one of these heads on when I rebuild my practice pad. I'm going to use the complete top end of parts drum, and I already have one built, but I'm going to rebuild it because I want to use those parts for another project, so I'm going to take a different set of rings that I have, and then we might use one of these sound focus heads. That'll look pretty cool. Have a real thin full-size practice pad with a see-through head on it. That'll look pretty cool. I'll do a video on that whenever I get around to it. But yeah, took a lot of time. You know, you can see these brackets here are pretty shiny to begin with, but polished up. You guys can see they get to like a mirror finish. Just beautiful stuff there. Shined up all the bolts. Really wasn't too bad to take the throw off apart. Basically just take these two bolts out right here and then keep track of where there's washers that are on these that have to be in certain spots, so I just had to kind of keep track of that. Just ended up being a lot of parts altogether, especially I took the whole handle apart and all that. I did not unrivet anything, so the little joint right there, that stayed connected, but literally everything else came completely apart, so I could clean it and service it properly. So that came out pretty good. We'll flip this one back over. And you can see we got the real nice brand new Remo Black Max. Great sound quality on this. Tightened up really nice and even. Kind of took my time, let the head settle for a little while, then came back and tightened it up even more to get the tone out of it that I was looking for. They ended up coming out really nice. And like I said, it's basically a brand new drum. I was going to remove the old University of Illinois, State of Illinois inventory stickers off of these, but the trouble is, even though these cases still look pretty white, they are discolored a little bit. And I started to take one of these off, and I could clearly see where it was a brighter white underneath this. So I decided just to leave them on. Kind of gives a little bit of the history on it. At least, you know, I know exactly where this came from. So so I'm just gonna leave those on, both of them, just as kind of like a little history note for them. But you guys can see the case cleaned up really nice. All the support tubes cleaned up pretty good. Like I said, there's a few that got just little scratches and stuff, but nothing's bent, nothing's warped. Everything went together super nice. Didn't have any troubles lining up the lugs for the top or bottom, and when I started to get everything put back together, everything went together real smooth. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, everything that I did to this one, we'll be doing to this one. I think this whole project took me about 2 weeks, and that's mainly working on the weekends. I didn't really do anything during the week on these after work, so I just kind of kept this as a weekend project. We'll get this one flipped back over. And then another thing that I took time to make sure the top of the bottom ring cleaned up and polished really well. You can see how it's shiny because it's clean, but there is, like, you know, some of that fogging on there, fingerprinting and all that stuff. So and then you can see on this one it's just beautifully shiny. Even cleaned up the little stop nuts that hold the supports on there. So it was a pretty fun project. That's the most in-depth restoration on a drum I've done. I knew these would be good candidates for this level of work. Just from seeing how good they were in this state, I knew there was big potential right there for turning it into something fantastic like this. And like I said, pretty much with it having new heads and all the aluminum being polished up, I pretty much now have a brand hammer new drum. So once I get this one done, then these will be a nice pair that I'll have, and then we can go on to the next the next drum project. We got a couple coming up here, so keeping pretty busy while I'm taking a little break from the horns. Kind of nice to get caught up on some of this stuff, and honestly, it really doesn't feel much different from my horn project. A lot of aluminum, a lot of hardware, a lot of cleaning. So, and then you know, all the added-ons with tuning. You know, just like with messing with the diaphragms on a horn, trying to get the horn to sound right. Same thing with this, to get the heads right, get the snares right, get everything set up really good. And this one does have super clear tone, really nice, real bright. These black max heads are super nice, really like those. This head isn't really tuned up, but you can see how different the sound is from the focus point there to the outer edge here. So you get a real tenor drum sound on that part right there. So I'll probably, I don't know if I'll use this one or the other one. The other one's in a little bit better condition, so I might use that one on my practice pad when I build it. But yeah, I'm really happy with how crisp and clear that came out. Had to adjust the snares a little bit once I got them set, and then I got the head tightened down. I actually ended up getting both of the heads on first, and then putting the throw off and strainer on and getting my snares on there, just that way I could close it up, and I didn't have to worry about a bunch of dust getting inside. That was one thing I really made sure to watch, was I didn't get any foreign material, any dust on the inside. Took my time with this one, so I'll be doing the same with this one. Might do, since I kind of took a little bit more time to just work on this one and not do a lot of videoing of it, I might do a couple more in-depth videos on this, at least in the disassembling of the throw off and the strainer. Maybe get a little bit more into that. Everything else is pretty simple as far as disassembly and reassembly. So when I took the tubes off, and I think I talked about this in the last video, when I took these support tubes out of the ring here, they were red Loctited in, and didn't really give me a lot of fight to get them off. They didn't use a lot of Loctite, and it was pretty old, so they came out with some effort, but nothing too crazy. And when I ended up screwing these back into the ring, I actually lubricated them instead of using Loctite, just for future service reasons. And you tighten them down, and they're not going to go anywhere. These don't just get loose that easily, because they're under a lot of tension, because they're being pulled when you tighten your lower ring, and then they also kind of get secured up once you tighten your top ring down. So I wasn't worried at all about using Loctite to keep these in. And I got this thing making noise. So yeah, I ended up using the same lubrication. I used a white thin grease on these, and then where the lugs go in on both sides, I lubricated those internal threads all with a white thinner grease. That's what you're supposed to do. Keeps everything from getting seized up, and just makes it easier for when you're tuning or disassembling or reassembling. And then clearly I'm not going to go taking this nice clean drum out in the weather anymore, but that's another reason why to do that, so that way it kind of prevents rust and that from happening. So everything got lubricated. It's basically better now than what it was when it came straight from the factory, especially with those better heads on there. And you can see the how fogged the inside of this ring is, And then over here you can see just how shiny I was able to get this one, so that was pretty cool. Especially with the top ring. The top rings always get beat up pretty bad just from the rim shots. Any weather they get to see right away. Most of it's stick damage and that, so I was pretty happy to have it shine up as well as it did. So we'll be putting the time in on this one. Pretty much as soon as I'm done with the video here, we'll start disassembling this one and getting all the support tubes off. We'll clean up all the lugs. I did polish every single lug, and took me quite a while, but it's worth it because they come out so nice and shiny. I do have older drums where the chrome finish on these is kind of chipped off and that. So that's why with how well of the condition of these two are, I'm taking the extra time to really clean every part individually, polish everything up really nice, because these, like, you see the potential. You know, you don't really see the potential when it's just this, but once you actually see it all done, and you really see just how a lot of work can go a long way there. So yeah, I hope all the music people enjoyed that, and hope you guys will enjoy once I start tearing into this one. Like I said, I'll do some videos on the strainer and the throw off, so we'll kind of get into that. So but yeah, till next time, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.